Welcome, friends. This is Under the Arch Sports. I'm Eric.
And I'm David.
And today we're going to discuss the lawsuit between the city of St. Louis and the Rams and the NFL being settled. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and find us on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, so David, Wednesday morning, news broke that the lawsuit is settled. So Stan Kroenke, the NFL, have agreed to settle with the city of St. Louis for $790 million. I think it caught a lot of people in St. Louis off guard, and especially because the trial was set to begin January 10th.
Yeah, and look, a couple weeks ago, Kroenke offered to settle at 100 million, and they turned it down. And I guess he counter offered with this one. I mean, if I'm sharing my valued opinion, I'm disappointed with the results in this one. I'm sure you are too. Um, but what this means exactly is there is going to be no trial on the 10th now. So effectively, this whole issue is going to be put past us, and we have to look at the aftermath of it now.
Yeah, there's a few different ways to look at it. So the first, because we are just outside, citizens of St. Louis, fans, all that. It's disappointing because there's the anger factor, right? I think just about everybody in St. Louis wanted to see the NFL and Stan Kroenke have their feet held to the fire, and I think there were a lot of people who were really looking forward to seeing NFL owners have to be called as witnesses in a trial and have to, answer questions under oath.
Well, and my biggest disappointment, in all honesty, is they could have gotten way more money out of this.
That too.
Lots of reports were coming out that they could have had anywhere from $2 to $4 billion out of all the owners, not just Kroenke. Um, so by settling, effectively, the city essentially just said, "We're fine with that. We'll take the money." Like they saw a large sum of money and got scared of going to trial because they're afraid they might not get that in the trial, which absolutely probably wouldn't have happened. They would have gotten way more.
Yeah, that's the confusing part. Is it seemed like this was a slam dunk. Every Almost every pretrial motion had gone in favor of the city of St. Louis. There was one instance where the NFL and Kroenke won, where a lawyer was going to have to recuse himself over a certain part of the trial, and because of previous involvement in something. And from what I understood, it made sense. So it wasn't like the city got screwed, and it wasn't going to make that big a difference to have one lawyer recuse himself for part of the trial. Yeah, the initial $100 million offer, that was a joke, and anybody who heard about it knew it was a joke, because $1 billion that had been thrown around as a potential number before that. So I don't think anybody took that seriously. I don't even know why Kroenke offered that. That was ridiculous. But yeah, there were reports of $2 to $4 billion, or maybe less money with an expansion team, which, regardless of how you feel about getting an expansion team and having the NFL back in the city, that would add value, add jobs, and there would be, financial benefit to the city.
Yeah, and you're talking about one other thing I think a lot of people really enjoyed watching is Kroenke and the NFL owners going at each other. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
there was a lot of chaos over the last couple of weeks between the owners and him, and a lot of resentment going on. Between the fact that he was trying to just settle himself and force the NFL owners to pay all legal fees and other things, and the owners caught wind of that and started firing back at Kroenke. Um, so, as an organization, the NFL was kind of in chaos when it came to this trial, which is why I think it was a slam dunk for St. Louis if they went to the trial. They could have easily taken a lot of money because the NFL owners were pretty much trying to stab each other in the backs because no one wanted to take the blame for it.
yeah. There was the initial agreement that Kroenke made was that for it when they moved, They said any potential lawsuit, I'm paying the legal fees. That was the agreement Kroenke made, and now he was trying to renege. And it, you know, as you said, you had NFL owners stabbing each other in the back, and the NFL and various owners were looking like they were about to go to war with each other. And for St. Louis is just sitting here watching, it was beautiful. And for this case to suddenly just be settled and be over with, it tells me that Kroenke and the NFL came to some sort of agreement, one way or the other, on this. And now that they have their ducks in a row, they came to the St. Louis team with a number, and it was close enough that they were able to negotiate it down. That's what I think happened.
Well, and I agree with that. And even if they got their ducks in a row, though, I still think they would have been hit for $1 billion.
If the city would have just said, "Yeah, screw you, we're going to trial," absolutely, I think they would have won. That obviously we're not in the courtroom, but everything's pointed to them winning and winning, maybe twice as much as this at a minimum.
Yeah. Once again, St. Louis shows itself for its poor leadership, if you will, on anything related to sports downtown St. Louis. This going back to that terrible contract they signed with the Dome and everything that allowed the Rams to leave in the first place.
Now,
Eric, talk about some of the impact this is going to have in the long run for the city.
oh yeah, the NFL has been talking about expanding, and the articles I've seen have mentioned 36 teams, which makes sense given they're 32 now. And St. Louis has been mentioned as one of those teams. I think with this lawsuit being done and over with, and there not being an expansion team included, I think you can close the door on any notion of St. Louis having an NFL team for at least a generation. I think that's done and over with. I think the NFL will expand, and they'll just find another fourth city.
I agree with you, and I'd even go a step further. I just don't think the NFL is going to come back to St. Louis at all.
No.
Unless an owner decides to move his team here, we're not getting an expansion team. I just don't see an NFL team coming back, period. Another thing I read is the money is going to be split between the city, county, and the sports commission. And if you're not aware of what that is, that's the organization that brings major sporting events like the Olympic gymnastic trials. They're the ones who brought
like the Final Four back in 2005.
Final Four. They brought the Frozen Four coming. In my opinion, they were the ones who also had a hand in this, and they were the ones who were spending the most time, effort, and money to get that thing going. I personally think most of the money should go to them. It's not going to happen because, St. Louis leaders are going to want their cut. And in my opinion, I don't think the city itself is going to see any improvement or any penny of that money. I think that's going to go to all the leaders. And I'm wondering if they took it as a, Christmas bonus.
Yeah, I want to take this chance to call on everybody involved in this lawsuit to be transparent with the money. Where's it going? If you can justify it, keeping it internal and using it for some sort of improvement to the city or county or to the sports commission, all right, fine. But be transparent. My gosh, this is such a visible lawsuit. Everybody knows, all right, you guys just got $750 million. What are you going to do with it? Don't be shady politicians like everyone is expecting you to, and just, pocket it. Like you said, Christmas bonuses for everybody in the office. Don't do that. That would be a shame. And it really, you'd be showing yourselves to be as corrupt as Kroenke in the NFL.
Well, and this is such a good opportunity for the leaders of St. Louis to maybe even improve on the infrastructure of the city. Put Wi-Fi throughout downtown. Do something like that. Do something beneficial for the
renovate people. The dome.
Well, that was my first thought because they already want to redo the America Center, make it larger so it can attract more things. You don't necessarily need the dome, or you could renovate the dome if you're going to keep it around. Not to mention, in another year, the dome's going to be active again with, if you haven't noticed, the Battlehawks. They're coming
Yeah.
back. I know the XFL is already starting to regather themselves. They're already in the process of hiring a new front office, and they're expected to get going back in 2023. So it's there with movement on their side. Signs are pointing towards they're going to be back in St. Louis. So get ready for that, and hopefully they can keep the momentum they had going in the first season before COVID hit.
Yeah. As long as they are somewhat transparent and we know where the money's going, people are going to be okay with it for the most part. And I just hope that happens. Otherwise, what's the point of this entire lawsuit?
Right. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Besides the fact that seeing Kroenke squirm is always fun. Anyway, that's all we have for Under the Arch Sports. Thank you for watching.